How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever the Podcast. This is our regular audio show where we want to catch you up on the latest Auburn news, topics, discussions, scuttlebutt, things that you need to be aware of when you're out and about amongst the Auburn family, talking around the water cooler, whatever it is. We're here to catch you up on the Auburn experience. All about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing today. The date is October 21st. 2025. Today's episode 74 of Ever the Podcast, and I'm your host, as always, Kyle Loomis, to catch you up on all these things. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about getting ready for Auburn versus Arkansas week, a road game after Auburn's been home for a little bit. We'll look at some news, a little smaller news items across baseball and some other Auburn in the Pros stuff, and anything else that comes to mind as we try to catch up a little bit from the weekend that was in the Auburn space. Certainly, let's start off right there, acknowledging the not-so-great weekend that it was for Auburn football, losing for 4th straight in a row to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ooh, hopefully that's not a little foreshadowing there. To Missouri Tigers at home in double overtime. A thrilling game, and once again, the Tigers fall, but have been in every single game against quality opponents, just have not been able to get over that hump quite yet. Came about as close as you can this time to finally getting over the hump of taking out one of these teams that is favored against you, even at home. And I know that's not what a lot of you want to hear, but it's the context that a lot of you need to hear and understanding how things are going right now. Certainly, it doesn't make excuses for things, but it certainly puts things into perspectives when you can rationalize not just the emotions and the frustrations, but also the actual reality of what is taking place and why things may be taking place the way they are. It's important. That's why we stress context over emotions here. They're both important, but far too often we find that fans focus way too much on their emotions and what they think, or what they've convinced themselves they know is best for the football team, even though they have very little of the information. Once again, I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but you need to hear it. Trust me, I've interacted with a bunch of you. So anyway, let's keep rolling through here. Let's talk about Auburn, Arkansas prep this week. As always, you hear for a press conference at the beginning of the week from the head coach, Hugh Freeze. He is still the head coach, whether you want him to be or not. And just, well, I'll leave it at that at this point. So there is obviously some notes from that we want to talk about what was talked about a lot in there. He certainly was asked about his comfort level with where his security as the head coach here. There was a question asked by one of the reporters about his need for a statement of faith, essentially, and from the athletic director. There's been several of those that have happened in a very tumultuous time for college football coaches. And he did want, when asked, it didn't come from Hugh, like him just saying, I need this. He was just answering the question. He said, yeah, those are huge. Like, I would love something like that. That's always great to hear and see, but expressed that he and John Cohen, while they haven't talked since, as of that day, about anything with the program, they are great friends and constant communication when it needs to be about what they need to talk about for the state of the football program. Trust me, folks, they know more than you. Anyway, I'm trying to be on my best behavior after some of the shenanigans in our fan base this week. Let me keep going right here with the rest of the notes that I think are most important from the press conference. The saddest news and probably the most important news out of this press conference, confirmation that Connor Liu, starting center, is out for the season with a torn ACL. You absolutely hate to hear this. This is probably the worst case scenario, I believe, for Auburn on offense. Not to try to be a catastrophizer here, but I do believe that this would be the worst case scenario. Losing the guy who's probably been the most solid on that offensive line as an individual. I've certainly had a lot of what I feel are constructive criticism for the offensive line. I very rarely make it about just an individual, but I will note when there is someone that's that crucial to the offensive line, and when you have a center the caliber and quality of Connor Liu and the experience now at this point, losing him for the rest of the season is an incredible impact in probably mostly a negative way. Now, the flip side of that, opportunities for others. Cale Ellis, who we've also already seen come in this year for Connerly when he was minorly injured earlier in the year and do a pretty good job for a 17-year-old who doesn't have hardly any experience at that time, none, when he first came in at the college level. And he is getting a crash course on SEC football. And I've said this 1,000 places. I'm not saying he played an absolutely perfect game. Coach even talked about that. But his first block was the one that helped spring Jeremiah Cobb for a 30, 40-yard run, which up the middle, which was pretty incredible. So note those things. He's certainly going to have to continue to work, get his snaps more consistent, things like that for getting the ball to the quarterback, but that will come with time. But we're proud of the opportunities that he is getting to take advantage of, and I think in some ways is taking a lot of those advantages. So good and bad with that story. I think it's something that's important to note there. Also asked about quarterback changes, and would there be any? There has been the plan all along this year, straight from the coach's mouth, that they were trying to redshirt Ashton Daniels to save his last year of eligibility he could use to be on the team next year as part of the roster. That's no longer the plan, straight from the coach's mouth, that everybody is going to have an option to play. Whoever wins out is going to be the quarterback, and whoever is performing the best is going to get those snaps. What that means right now, and he said this, that Jackson Arnold, the plan as of that press conference was for him to start Saturday, and if he get off to a good start, continue on with that. But if things bog down, Ashton Daniels will be the first one in. And so it sounds like Deuce is needing a little bit more time to grow and develop into a college quarterback. That's what it sounds like outside looking in. But that kind of is the outlook of the quarterback position right now, and something for you all to keep an eye. And just another quick note I want to throw in, just the good things in all of the turmoil and frustrations of not winning the football games that we were so close to winning. Perry Thompson getting a lot more time recently with the injury to Horatio Fields several weeks back, and he's finally starting to not only play more, but he's taking advantage of those opportunities and making a lot of great plays, getting opportunities to make more. That'll come with time, that consistency, but we're really starting to see him have fun. Coach had a great quote about him we shared on social media about how he's a great example of the joys of coaching and watching them go through the frustrations, work through it, mature, develop, and then become great contributors when the opportunity arises. That's why you can never count someone out. They'll just continue to work, and maybe that opportunity will come their way. So there's some football notes to get you started off this week. Let's switch gears just a little bit in other sports. This was probably one of the cooler things to start off this week. It's a commitment, and so recruiting news, not in the football space, but the baseball space. Most of you will know the name, Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, Auburn's most legendary baseball player, Hall of Famer for the MLB, Chicago White Sox, all that. Well, if one's good, two's better. I guess I should say three, since he's the third, technically. Frankie Thomas III, infielder, has committed to Auburn baseball for 2027, I believe. So not this season, but the next. That's really cool. I'm a big proponent, when it makes sense, not just for the sake of doing it, but when it makes sense, to have family ties here at Auburn. I mean, we preach this family thing. It means something. When you can do that with some of your legacies, your greats, I think that is an awesome thing. And so the fact that Frankie Thomas has decided that he wants to play where his father is, and effectively, it's a different position probably as well. I don't think he's a first baseman or anything, but we'll see where he plays. It's a great thing where you don't have to necessarily live in your dad's shadow, but you can continue to live out that legacy that's already been laid for him right here. So that's a great story in the Auburn baseball thing. And don't forget, Savannah Banana Balls is coming up very soon. We won't be able to attend ourselves, but I know a lot of you are super excited about that in Plainsman Park. And don't forget, for Auburn in the pros news, the ML, I kind of try to combine everything there. The NBA season starts today, so that means Jabari's starting to play, Jabari Smith. The others that are still in the NBA are going to be getting going with their seasons as well. So for those of you that like to follow the NBA, Auburn in the pros, this is a time where you can not only start seeing the NFL players and former Auburn players, but the NBA as well. So be watching for them. I'm sure we'll get plenty of updates. It seems like Jabari is entering a season that's going to be new and fresh with some new teammates and stuff like that. So maybe a good start to him, or to his season, into the Houston Rockets season, and everybody else in the NBA that are former Auburn players. With that, the last thing I want to say, we are still in a time period here for me personally that's a little bit wonky with schedules. So we're going to continue to try to get all of our regular content out from you. If we miss an episode or two here, especially on Ever to Podcast this week, I do apologize, but a little bit kind of here and there on schedules, but we'll do our best to get these out for you. That's why I wanted to make sure we at least talk to you today about some of these things to get this one in. We appreciate all of your patience. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode, 46? I forgot already. Episode 46, 74 of Ever to Podcast. We appreciate you being here. As always, hit us up, E2C Network at gmail.com, or direct messages for comments, questions, things that you want brought up here on the show. And we'd love for you to check out our main show that's out right now, not the Ever to Podcast, that's what you're listening to now, the Auburn Experience Podcast with Austin and myself, where we broke down a lot of big Auburn topics, sports, culture, otherwise. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. If you're already here, you're already listening to it probably. Thanks for hanging out, being here, and participating with us. I want to remind you that the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.